First of all, for us as Republicans, we have to have a positive message for the future. Now, that doesn't mean that, you know, we should let Deval off the hook for every stupid thing that he does, and I will be there. But we can point out these problems. But at the end of the day, when we go to the voters, they need to know not only that Deval Patrick's stupid and that he has issues and that the rest of the Democrats are following him over the cliff, but is that we have the answers for solving these problems. They will not hire Republicans if we don't have the answers. So our first goal for 2009, right now, is to tell people our positive message. Redefine our party. Talk about how we are the party of common sense. You can trust us. Our state senators aren't being arrested. Our state senators aren't stuffing cash down their bras. Literally, could you make up this stuff? It's been great to be on, in the Herald and on RKO during this time. You should see, I love watching Warren Tolman trying to defend this stuff, and how he thought that, Chuck Turner and Diane Wilkerson deserved their day in court, and I'm like, throw the bums out, So, and also the other message we have to be is the fiscal watchdog for our state. Going into late 2009, into early 2010, that's when we should really start hammering the Democrats. Remind voters why they need to fire all of the Democrats, not just Deval. They need to fire our federal representatives. They need to fire the legislative members. Give them a reason. And we can do this by talking about stupid things that they've done, like paying volunteers. Somebody buy them a Webster dictionary up there at the State House. You don't pay people to volunteer. The other thing we can go after them is on the candy tax. Can you imagine that we have a picture of a child wanting to get a lollipop and Deval Patrick with his hand out for 5 cents or 6 cents, looking for the tax on the lollipop? This is just insane things that they're trying to do. But finally, we finish up going into 2010 with a positive message. The reason why to hire Republicans. How are we going to be different? Remember, back when Bill Weld got elected, he passed 40 tax cuts. When I was doing RKO, Tom Finneran tried to take credit for it, and there was one heck of a moment on radio where he ended up having to back down because I said, look, I was a chief of staff of the Republicans leader's office during that time. I know what was happening. You can try to fool the listeners, but I actually was in the building at that time, and you weren't a tax cutter. You were a tax increaser, and it was the governor's office that forced these tax cuts down, the legislators' throats. Another way we can also win this is, look, everybody likes to blame, I write for the Herald, and then, there's the other paper that's there. And worshiping, for a long time we've had to worship at the altar of the Boston Globe, as Republicans. Oh, fear the Globe is going to bash us. Well, you know what? They're always going to bash us. But now we have an advantage of new media. It doesn't require us to go to the Boston Globe, kiss their butt, and hope that they don't beat the crap out of us anymore. We can get out there with our new media message and get it out there without having to deal with them. One, by creating our own buzz through YouTube, through Facebook, through Twitter, through the blogs. And we just don't do enough through the blogs. And I know we have Republican blogs out there, but I suggest that you go to everybody's blog out there. Because, look, I have 2 people that monitor the Lone Republican, and if you read my comments section, you'll see all the hate comments I get. One is from MoveOn.org, literally works for MoveOn.org, and the other one works for the Massachusetts Democratic State Party. And they spend their days trying to write hateful things about me and about what I write. And if I'm making a good point, it's more about me than the actual policy. And I have the Herald installed a great feature for me. Delete, 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 delete. And if I'm really annoyed, I can go in and edit their columns. Comments. And a couple times I have to say lately, I've been a little annoyed, so I went in and one guy, I kind of wiped out all his comments and wrote in, I am a moron. it slows them down for a while for fear that I might do it a couple more times. But you have to have a good sense of humor. Or the other thing is, if sometimes I'll shut off the comment section just to keep them quiet, and then they really get mad about freedom of speech and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, go read somebody else's blog if you want freedom of speech. It's what I want here. And the third thing that we can do as Republicans is we have to run better campaigns. And I live this stuff. I'm out there all the time campaigning. This weekend coming up, I will be in Virginia because they have elections down there, and I'm training over 100 people on how to run for office down there. 2 years ago, I had the opportunity to do a lot of training in Pennsylvania, and we had, in my class, we had 40 women. Of that, 21 of them went on to run for office, and of that, 17 of them won local offices. And so we've had a great track record, and I can't live and breathe this stuff enough to tell you to go out there and think about running for office. The one thing I try to tell everybody is I like to watch Survivors on Thursday night. Yes, I'm a kook. And I like to watch these people run around, make idiots of themselves, but it's because of what they say on that. You have to outplay, outsmart, and outwit your opponents on that. And that's the philosophy I take to my campaigns. I know the Democrats are gonna work hard. They do this 365 days a year, 24/7. But at the end of the day, I love outsmarting them because they're not that bright. But take that philosophy when you go out to the campaign. Don't be apologetic, well, I'm just a Republican, and this is what happens to Republicans. No. How are you going to, when you know that Boston Globe endorsement is going to come out against you, how are you going to outsmart the Globe? How are you going to outsmart the MTA? Let me tell you right now, the MTA does in every legislative race at least 3 mailings against the Republican. I do, as I steal their mailings and send it out before they do. So by the time the MTA wants to come out against one of my people, they have to spend twice as much money to beat my message on education on the Republican. And so I outwit them. I always am out thinking, where are my opponents? What are they going to do? How am I going to beat them? I don't want to be a good loser. And we've got to get out of that mentality that we're running, okay campaigns. We have to run much better campaigns. We have to outwit them, outsmart them at every step of the way. And you're Republicans, so I know you got it in you, because you're not Democrats. One of my favorite sayings that Lincoln had to say is, my greatest concern is not whether you have failed, but whether you're content with your failure. We cannot be content with our past problems here as Massachusetts Republicans. I'm not content. That's why every single day, despite the death threats and what they're going to do to me and all the lovely little notes I get from the Democrats, I'm not content because I know I'm right. I'm going to continue to fight. And I want everybody out there to think about running for office, getting out there, hopefully supporting Charlie Baker to run for governor so we can fix this state. And my last words are, remember, Carter gave us Reagan, and Dukakis gave us Bill Weld. Thank you so much.
Wonderful job. Thank you, Holly. Thank you.